Hey, good morning.
Morning, Michael. Morning, Michael. How are you doing?
Oh, very well. How are you today?
Yeah, I am sick since yesterday,
Oh,
the day before.
oh, I'm sorry to hear that, and on such a beautiful day too.
I know.
I hope you feel better.
Yeah, I think I'm on lots of drugs.
No.
So it should be okay. Medically prescribed drugs, I should say.
Well, as my Jewish grandmother says, hot tea and honey.
Yeah, that's correct. That is something like that is what I just took. Uh,
Nice.
it basically soothes the throat, which is congested badly.
Well, I think we live in the same general area, so the thing that gets me is all the pollen in the trees.
Yeah, that could be it in terms of. Okay, why are people? I will. Somebody's calling me on a phone or
Yep.
something.
Okay.
I'll just get them on the hangout. Hmm. Yep. So people will join. I have. By the way, let me ask you: how did you get invitation notification? Is it through your Gmail or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Gmail and I think I wonder if it just popped up. Did you send it out through a Twitter feed too?
Yeah, I send out through multiple locations like Google Plus and the email system. Then if you are logged into your Gmail, it pops up in your inbox.
Yeah.
Lots of places I send notifications on.
Yeah, that's exactly how it showed up. It showed up in the Google Plus, and then also um, Hangout is on air too.
Yes.
So that's
Yes.
also through Google. Two separate ways.
Right. So Hangout on Air gets automatically recorded,
Good.
and the other Hangout is like a more like a meeting that does not get recorded. And so we want to have our sessions recorded so we can review them later on if needed. And so we do record our sessions like we are doing right now
And apologize. Repeat again. Which one does get recorded?
on air.
On air. Interesting. Okay.
On air is a broadcast worldwide.
Wow.
So you can technically have like a large conference sitting right here. Like, we can become visible to the world if we want to, just like this.
Well, it's a good thing I'm wearing my makeup. Morning, May.
Good morning.
Oh, hi. How are you doing?
Good. So did you say that hangout is different from on air?
A little bit. Mostly the technology is same, but on air there is no limit to number of people joining, and it is getting recorded automatically, and you can have it distributed worldwide like a broadcast.
Okay.
That's what we are doing right now, except the worldwide part is not open to public. It is only open to Cloud Genius members.
How do you change the setting?
You invite at the time of creating Hangout on Air.
Mm-hmm. Are you sick?
Yes, I
Oh my.
Yeah. My son came back from University of Washington and he brought this thing from there.
I know kids are always the germ spreaders.
Yeah. Excuse me. Excuse me.
I
You
know.
you have you have a good-looking son. He's a good-looking guy. A
I know.
good guy.
And I caught the humor that Mel had, and Mel was Mel was essentially hinting in a jocular fashion how ugly I am.
No, 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 no.
I'm okay. I'm totally fine. I get the idea. That was a joke, but beautifully done. Very, very beautifully done. You must have a really, really beautiful wife. It means you are really, really ugly because this guy's an average guy. Okay. I think I need to. Heather is also pinging me, so I'm going to see if he gets hdwilson@gmail.com. I'll just tell her on the conversation that I gave her a link, which should get her in. Hmm. Hmm. She's not able to find a link, so I'm going to give her a link to a different method right now. Yep. So she'll be joining in soon. So after she joins, I think we should maybe discuss the quiz that we had the other day, and then also discuss what we intend to do starting our class Monday in terms of. Excuse me, it's bad. Murugan just joins. Hi, Murugan. Hey, Murugan.
Morning.
How are you doing?
Good. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Cool.
Heather just joined.
Morning.
Hi.
They're so desperate to try to.
I did not understand what you said.
They're very desperate to. Oh, hold on. Muting. There we go. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
They're very desperate to
Nilesh?
get me to join Google Plus.
Oh, that's what's going on. All these companies do exactly that. They want you to join Google Plus so they can spam you. And if you actually join Google Plus, it helps me reach you with this notifications.
I
Like I
don't need. Yeah, I'm on Google Plus already with my HD Wilson account. I don't need 6 more accounts on Google Plus.
what you can do after the class, delete the Google Plus, and maybe
Yeah,
keep the address.
I will. I will.
Hey, Nilesh, before you start talking about the quiz, I just want to throw something out there.
Yes, please.
I don't want to cut anybody off, though.
Go ahead.
Okay. So I have not taken the quiz yet. I've been super busy, and I have the link to it, and I know that it's supposed to be done like within an hour. I was going to actually do that this weekend. So if you're going to talk about the quiz, I don't want to. I want to be able to take it, but I don't want to come across as being, unethical.
No, totally okay. I think the whole point of this entire 3-month program is not about like the classic college and exam and testing and evaluation. I don't believe in that. I honestly do not. What I believe in, and I think I said that briefly the very first day, this is an opportunity for us to learn from each other, to learn from what's happening in the industry, and to really put that to use. It is not an academic coursework at all. It has no exams. If you do not take an exam, what happens? Nothing, really nothing. But what really matters is for you to be able to get what you expect to receive from the course. That is very important. And having taken a quiz or having done a part of homework the way exactly what I want versus somewhat differently than what you think you wanted, I think those things are totally okay and acceptable to me. This is not like a high school course or a formal college degree where you have to have an exam and reach a minimum 37% of whatever percent is scoring in order for a pass or a fail. There is no pass or fail. This is real life. This is as real as it gets with you and me, all of you and me learning together. So there is no unethicalness of anything like that. So, feel free to participate. If you really want the opportunity to not get exposed to our discussion, you can maybe mute your speaker and keep your microphone active so that you can speak and we can talk to you. You won't be able to listen to if that's what you want. And if you really want that we don't want to talk about the quiz right now, that is also okay with me. We can maybe cover it Monday, talk something else right now. It's up to you. You decide.
No, I don't. I'm not here to hold anybody back. I'm just saying, I've just had a busy spat, and I haven't been able to keep up as much as I'd like. So, bottom line, do whatever you're going to do. I just wanted to be forward with you about saying I haven't completed the exam. So, bottom line.
That's totally okay. It is for us to learn together, and the goal is not to measure how you learn or how well you did, but more of, what is it and how do we make use of it in real life? That's the idea, right? So that's what I intend to do. And with that, I'm going to just about to start this thing, which will let me present my own screen to you. And that will help you see my screen as I walk through that. We can discuss this, by the way. So having said that, I'm going to start sharing my screen, which is coming up. Am I already projecting my screen or what?
Yes, you are.
Okay, good to know. Because I was not sure. So that is my projection going on, and now I will switch to my screen. There it is. Okay, so I'm about to begin starting using this quiz, and we'll go rapidly, but just focus on what the key points I want to highlight on. The first one is a funny attempted funny question, OSSM. So the real things to look for in the definition of what cloud computing is, from who defines it, is NIST. As you remember, NIST cloud. These guys define cloud computing, as you may remember, and there is this definition available here. You can download a PDF file. It's a long book. But that's the document that defines what cloud computing is. And so if you want a link, you probably have it somewhere in the library, but that link you can grab and read. If you go back to the quiz and compare from that PDF file to what exactly this thing is, it is on demand, meaning you can get it whenever you want. It is self-service. It is metered. It is scalable. So scalable, metered, on-demand, and self-service. These are the key metrics. It does not have to be necessarily open source. Like, for example, the Microsoft Cloud is not entirely open source. Parts of it are. It is strategic to you. It may not be strategic to the business. It really depends on some businesses may not find cloud computing as strategic for them. So it is not universally acceptable. As a strategic nature, it does not necessarily apply. Some companies or businesses or entities may not want to go to the cloud for security reasons or some other reasons. The operational and Microsoft base are just silly embedded embedded responses. They have no meaning to it. Excuse me. I'm sorry. The next one, which is which one of these is the most important economic benefit of cloud computing? Reduced operational expenses. Actually, it might increase operational expenses to begin with, as you are not going to pay upfront. Increased capital expenditure. No, that is also not true. The first and third are not true. Increased capital expenditure. Actually, there is capital expenditure of $0. You don't pay anything upfront. So first is wrong because it does not necessarily reduce operational expenses right away. It might reduce over time as you learn or as your organization learns. And so the second bullet here is flexibility to add and remove resources and pay only for what you use. That item is the item of scalability and metered. So you're not using it, they're not metering it, you're not paying for it. Those aspects are relevant. So this is the right answer. Continue. By design, native applications work across all platforms. No, they do not. As you know, native applications have to be compiled and you have to write code in every single platform and compile them for that to create the binary for that target platform individually, one at a time for every operating system. And that, by definition, does not work across all platforms natively just like that. However, if you have a web application like the Pie Guy example or the everytimezone.com, this website that you saw the last time, this is, by design, it will work on any operating system whatsoever because it is not a native app. It is a web application. It is actually HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. You can right click on it and figure out the elements that go inside in building it here. And you can do that analysis to your satisfaction until you fully understand what's going on here. But I think this guy has published the source code also, if you want to take a look at that. This guy who created the site is the author of Zepto.js, which is a JavaScript library. And he wrote that library and he created this site as an example to play using that library. Back to our quiz. The answer here is false. The next one, which is which one of these is not a cloud computing service model? Hardware as a service, platform as a service, software as a service. That's a trivial answer. Continue. Next one is you can develop a native app for the iPhone without actually using a real iPhone device. That is correct. And the reason being, you can use Xcode. The Xcode is the integrated development environment from Apple, and you can create an app using Xcode environment in your computer, in your Macintosh computer, without actually having a real iPhone in your hand, because excuse me, because the application that you will write will run inside an emulator. So iPhone emulator is built into Macintosh, and you should be able to develop a native application for the iPhone without actually using an iPhone device in your hand. So it is actually correct. You will not be able to do a real life testing by not using on a real device. But for the purpose of creating an app and developing it, absolutely you can develop without having an iPhone. Next one. Native apps for the Android OS are primarily written using Java. And maybe we did not specifically discuss this in my talk or my discussions with you. But there are some videos in the library that mention this. So any time you think that there is a case which needs to go into specifics about something that you think was not discussed in the class, please tell me so I can cover that right away. And Eclipse is the only IDE that can be used to write native applications. No, it is not the only. There are other IDEs also that can be used to write native applications. This is bad cough, really bad. Google Docs can be used to create lots of different things these days. You can create spreadsheets, presentations, even music. I think there's an app for that, but I'm not sure yet. Drawings, yes. PDF, yes. Movies, I don't know yet. MP3, I don't know. Documents, yes. Forms, yes. And by the way, this quiz itself is a form in Google Docs. And that's what happens is as you click through the buttons and fill the form out, it saves on the back end as a Google spreadsheet. The interface to the user is that of a form, like Google form. That's what you're seeing right now. The next question is about Google Docs preserves user state in the Google Cloud. Yes, it does. And here is how. If you create a document, something like this, maybe it is Drive these days, so the name is Drive. If you go to Google Drive and create a document and say, I want to start writing a document, and here I say that hello, and how are, and I forget to do the YOU and question mark part. I forgot. And for some reason, what happened is this machine dies. So the browser will get killed. And whenever it does, it goes away. And now I find a different computer, I log in, and I go back to my Google Drive, and I open the document, and it shows me exactly where I was in the state of the user and their activity up to the last second, microsecond actually, is getting preserved in the backend in the cloud. So whatever we are doing, whatever the users are doing, excuse me, sorry about this coughing. So hello, how are, and the remainder of the text that I was going to write before that the machine dies, all of that gets saved into my Google Drive in the cloud. And so the Google Documents actually preserve user state in the Google Cloud without asking the user to save a file. In fact, as you will remember me talking about this Chromebook device that I'm experimenting with. It is a classic example of state of the user getting preserved in the cloud. And by that, what it means is everything the user is doing, all the files, all the papers, all the email, everything, every single thing whatsoever is pushed away back to the cloud at the moment it is created. The moment you're typing, it all goes to the cloud. In fact, the entire storage capacity of this Chromebook that I have in my hand right now is 16 GB. And if you look at my Google Drive storage, not this one, yeah, this one. Excuse me. You look at the bottom, says my capacity is 130 GB, and the usage that I have on a real Chromebook, the actual hard disk is actually 16 GB. So what Chromebook is doing is pushing all the state of the user, meaning all the email, calendar, contacts, address book, documents, spreadsheets, whatever you do, whatever you create, is pushed away from your Chromebook into the Google Cloud, and thereby preserving what is known as the user's state, whatever that state is, and it leaves that state away from you in the cloud. And the Chromebook advertisements are pretty much similar to this: that you buy a Chromebook, you use it, you throw it away, and then you bring another Chromebook, you log in, and it becomes exactly identical replica of the Chromebook you threw away or you lost by mistake. So nothing gets lost in terms of data if your machine dies or if your machine gets stolen. That is the concept of preserving users' state. So the answer is true. Continue. Next one. A LAMP stack contains Linux, Apache, PHP, and MySQL. That's the classic definition of LAMP stack. It is Linux, Apache, MySQL, PHP. And there are some variations these days, like people are including MariaDB and Perl and Python as other languages. But the, the first choices that were used were LAMP, with PHP as the language, MySQL as the database, Apache as the HTTP server, and Linux as the OS. So if you, and the classic definition chooses these four elements. Next one is Microsoft Office 365 suite of online software as a service can be used. And you have done this already, so you should be already aware of the answer. A subdomain on this, a top level domain of your choice, a subdomain under a top level domain of your choice. Yes, you can do all of them. It's pure DNS trickery, and your Route 53 trickery will help you do whatever you want. What I mean to say by Route 53 trickery is something that you probably already know, which is this is what I'm talking about in terms of adjusting top level domain, something like this, subdomain, something like this, or on Microsoft.com. So I'm assuming you're familiar with this, and if there are questions, please stop me.
I can't see your screen. All I saw is the quiz screen. I think you're typing something.
I know, I will fix that. So I will fix that by, I understand that you're not able to see. I immediately got that. because this is okay. Create now. Can you see? Can you see my Google Drive
Yeah,
document?
yeah.
So what I was typing is this. So you can do some Route 53 trickery, something like this. On a top level, you can type this. On a subdomain, you can go something like this. And if you want to use the Microsoft provided domain, you can go something like this. You can do whatever trickery you want in your Office 365 or just about any other service. As long as you're able to play comfortably with Route 53, anything of these nature is possible. Next. Did I double click twice or something? No. Okay, next. Cloud services such as IaaS help businesses in the following ways. Avoid operational expenditure. No. There will be some operational expenditure. Increase capital expenditure. No. The capital expenditure is zero. Avoid depending on IT staff. That is also incorrect. You would need some IT staff. Avoid dependency on cloud service providers. That is also incorrect. You have to depend on the company who is providing you cloud services. Next one is Force.com. Is a platform to develop cloud-based business applications. Let us see what Force.com is doing. Force.com is the platform by Salesforce that enables you to develop business-focused applications in the cloud using Salesforce.com backend without using software. That's what they advertise. When they say without using software in Salesforce, like the phone number. If you look at the phone number here, it says 1-800 no software. But Salesforce is a software company. So what does this actually mean when they say no software? It basically means that you don't have to install any software. Entire solution set from Salesforce runs inside the browser. All their software runs away from you in their cloud. And that's what they mean to say in their company, in their presentations. It's all about no software. And the Force.com platform enables you to create business applications in the cloud, in the Salesforce cloud, using that platform, which is provided by Salesforce. Continue. This is buggy. There's a bug here apparently. It should allow me to proceed. It doesn't seem to allow. I'll select something for now, but I think this is a bug I need to fix.
That's what I ended up doing, just clicking that checkbox.
Yeah, I'm sorry, this is bug.
But doesn't using infrastructure as a service, it reduces the dependency on IT staff?
No, it's avoiding dependency. You can not completely avoid dependency. You will have to still depend on some IT staff. You cannot get away without having just IT staff. You will have to have some IT to help you deal with the infrastructure, or you are going to be the IT person yourself. So the bottom line is you can reduce dependency, but you cannot avoid it. And I think that's the bug I need to fix, which I will. I've taken note on side sheet. But I'm marking it right now and proceeding forward. AWS Elastic Beanstalk helps IaaS cloud users deploy and manage cloud applications on the Amazon.com. Yes, it does. You have used Beanstalk, I guess. You can load up any operating system you like on Amazon machine instance. The answer is no, not this one. not Mac OS. The answer is false. You cannot load Macintosh OS on by license on any machine that does not have an Apple logo. That's what the license language says. It has to have a logo on the box, which cloud machines will not have. So you cannot run by license. You can get it to run, and I have run like 6 or 7 years ago. I have run Macintosh OS on a PC. There are projects doing just that. If you are not familiar with this, the concept is Hackintosh. And if you go visit this site, you can run Mac OS on a regular PC that you can assemble yourself. This is very hacky, and it is violation of the software license, but technically possible, commercially not possible. And so you cannot load Mac OS on an Amazon machine instance for that reason. Continue. Amazon Web Services Elastic Compute Cloud lets users choose the geographic regions they need the cloud instances deployed. Answer is yes. You get to choose the drop down of the upper right corner. Then AWS plugin for Eclipse enables features that allow cloud users to manage AWS cloud instances from right within Eclipse environment. Yes, we saw that in the class in a demo. Continue. You can install WordPress software on a LAMP server. Absolutely, yes. And the way you can do that, the way you can verify whether you can do that, is you go to WordPress software's website and read the documentation. Documentation should be here, requirements. So here it says what is required, and it requires PHP, MySQL, and Apache. And so you can run it. Absolutely, yes. Next one. WordPress.com is different from WordPress.org. And WordPress.com is actually an implementation of WordPress.org software. ORG is the software source. .com is the service that Matt provides. Matt is the person who created WordPress, and his company's name is Automatic at the bottom. Automatic, and he creates a service using his own software, WordPress, to create and deliver a service called WordPress.com, where you can create your own site for free. There are some limitations, and there is a video also on this topic in the library. So, WordPress software as a service from Automatic provides a blogging platform, yes. A place for your picture, music, videos, yes. A place to stream your videos. I think that they just started doing this. And a choice for you to use your own domain instead of generic WordPress.com domain level. Yes, you have to pay for it, but you can. And in that case, it becomes your domain.com, maintained and managed by them as a software as a service, running WordPress software, managed and maintained by them. And all you get to do is use it. Continue. The White House runs Drupal software. Yes. Drupal Gardens, which is a software as a service available from Acquia, the company created by the creator of Drupal software, lets you create a Drupal site. Yes. Account for up to. These questions really are not academic. This is like asking me, what's the. Here is what a way to find out. How do you find the answer to this? That's the key question. So you go to Drupal Acquia and find out what they're doing, like here, and read the limitations that they will have. You have their pricing and Acquia Cloud Free, and you read the question again. It says account for up to 35 members at no cost. So you should be able to find out from here whether at no cost, this is the no cost solution. what's the number of users that will let you, and they may have changed it.
I looked it up too, Nilesh, and the number is 10 now.
I see. So that means the question needs to change over time, or maybe don't ask such questions that depend on time. Yeah, that question needs to change. That was the old status. Things change in the cloud. The second question I think I need to adjust for is the number of 35, which becomes incorrect for information available right now. A place to blog. Yes, you can blog on Drupal. A customized version of your website based on Drupal software. Yes, it will let you do that.
When it says member, that means people who can
Edit.
contribute content.
Edit, yes. Edit, contribute, collaborate.
Okay.
So 35 concurrent editors for the same site, maintained, managed for free. That was the case before. Apparently it is 10 now, but I think that line item should just be dropped. That doesn't make sense anymore. Apple lets iCloud users create and load custom web applications on the iCloud. So let's see what iCloud does. It does not let you create custom applications. If you go to iCloud.com and log in, and I'm going to log in now, and let's see what it does. It shows you mail, calendar, contacts, notes, reminders, my phone, pages, numbers, Keynote. They're still in beta. You can create pages and numbers in Keynote, but there is no place for us to create our own custom application here. They do not allow. They want only their apps available from this location. It does not load custom web applications. You cannot run WordPress on the iCloud. False. Apple iCloud solves content synchronization problem by putting cloud in the center as a hub. Yes. What it is doing, as you already probably know, maybe 10, 15 years ago, everything that people used to do with their cameras and music and videos and pictures and documents, whatever, put that all in a central location in the home, with the PC as the center, right? People used to have Windows PCs at the center. Connect your camera, connect your printer, connect your MP3 player, all to the central hub, which was the PC. Now, cloud is in the center now. And in the context of Apple, it is the Apple iCloud in the center. And all other devices connect to that cloud from wherever they are. And so the cloud becomes the central hub. And similar models are being applied by Google, where Google Cloud is in the center, and you can have Chromebooks and Chrome browsers and Android browsers all coming together, connecting to the Google Cloud. And similar model being applied by Microsoft with their OneDrive solution, where people using Windows PCs all connect to that OneDrive hub and store their content centrally. So that is the new center, or as a hub. Cloud is in the center as opposed to individual machines. So that is true. And it synchronizes the content, solves the content synchronization problem by allowing people to synchronize their content in one single place in the cloud away from any one location. Next one is Amazon Elastic Beanstalk has an auto scaling option which maintains minimum number of running copies of your instance. Yes, it does. RightScale allows you to manage cloud infrastructure across several vendors. Yes, we saw that. We saw in the context of Scalar. And I was never able to actually show you RightScale because I'm still stuck with my RightScale account. I think I'll have to create a new account, apparently. But the creation of account, I think, is they don't charge you for a certain number of instances for management. So you should be able to try RightScale as an example and connect your Amazon account, connect your Rackspace account to it, and through RightScale, you can manage cloud infrastructure as one single place to go to manage all your cloud infrastructure, irrespective of the vendor. Excuse me. Next, Skype is not a web app. It is a native app. To get audio and visual, and the reason Skype is not a web app is it does not run just in the browser. You have to have a native implementation like this, which needs to run on your machine directly. It cannot become a web app where you go to skype.com and just talk from there. That is not possible quite yet. Next one is to get to audio, visual, and other embedded devices. One is relatively better off with developing web apps or developing native apps. If you're developing native apps, you are better off because native SDKs, or native software development kits, provide you with a lot more flexibility in choices and options and ease of programming and sample code to allow you to connect to your camera in the phone. Hold on. By the way, there are more embedded devices coming along in newer generation phones these days than ever thought possible before. Like I'm hearing iPhone 6 is going to have a barometer and pressure sensor and elevation altitude meter, in addition to a variety of sensors already built in. And so it'll be even more interesting going forward with the ability to locate your height, your elevation, I mean your altitude compared to sea level, not your height, your altitude from sea level, your pressure, your angle of motion, your direction, how many steps you're doing, what velocity are you moving, in what direction you're moving, your compass, and how you are rotating along the axis of the phone if you are walking around or going around in circles. If you are playing games, that will be enabled through tilting of the device. So all these sensors are built into the devices, and if you are able to make use of these sensing data, it is better. You're better off creating a native application because of the fact that the phone vendors like Android or Samsung or iPhone, or even this Fire OS 3.5 that just came out 2 days or 3 days ago, Amazon phone, Fire phone, it also has a huge bunch of sensors and embedded devices. And you can rotate the phone itself and it will be able to show you some 3D view, which is what is going on is they have this concept of a gyroscope inside the device, which will let the application understand the orientation of the user's phone in their hands and is able to interoperate and provide the user experience of a 3D moving video or whatever display, 3D display, by looking at the data provided that the sensor provides to the application. And that's what's going on in that particular device, for example, the Fire phone device. And the application programming interfaces, or the APIs, are available in a much more richer fashion in the native applications development kit as opposed to the web applications development kit. And the web applications development will be something similar to the PyGuy example that you saw, which is using a Safari browser-based API access to control the touch interface, and you're able to then play Pac-Man.
Hey, Nilesh,
Yes.
the Skype question was a little confusing to me because I know it's a native app when you need to talk to people and stuff, but you can use their website to make payment. You actually have to go through their website to make payment for Skype.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the payment part is you can in theory call it a part of the application, And yes, you have to go to the site to make a payment. But for using the application itself, the question essentially is Skype, is that a native app or a web app or both or neither? It is not a web app, it is a native app.
Right. I mean, I understand the communication part is a native app. I'm just saying, they make you go to their web sometimes, right? For certain.
And that is true for almost every single case. Even if you're developing any application, you will have to contact somebody in that company in some form, for which you will typically use a web browser to approach that company. And that is accurate with almost every single example. You will have to approach that company through a web browser, even if you're doing native application development on any platform. It doesn't even matter. For example, if you start writing an application on your Android phone, you have to visit android.com. And in there, you will find that you can read developer KitKat 4.1. So you have to read this latest release and then figure out what is beautiful and immersive about it, and OK Google and all that good stuff. But at the end, you have to go and read the SDK. You have to download the SDK and check them out. And when you do, it has a bunch of things you need to get from using the browser and down to your machine in order for you to be able to develop an application that runs on Android. And so browser and interfacing with the company or exchange of information or for exchange of money is a necessity, whether it is an application development or just way of doing business. Any business you do, you will involve the company in some fashion. Either you will call them or meet them or go to their website and interact with them. And that is a part of the business. So when you're paying money to Skype, you're visiting the browser or making a payment, or you're visiting somebody in Microsoft's office and giving them cash, which is not an option, by the way. But that's another way of dealing with a company. You're dealing with somebody, you have to approach them in one of three ways. Talk to them in the phone, go and see them in person, or connect with them through a browser or some other method on the computer. And so it is a business transaction that needs to be happening, and that will enable you to be able to make payment so that you can call landline phones and other phones using Skype. But if you're not even doing that, you don't even need to go. You can do that part of creating an account and using it all within the app. Does that clarify?
Right. Now, I was just saying the question could be clearer.
Okay. I'm making a note of that. Next one, which is, this is the language I think the previous branding we used to use, which I need to change. But that gets submitted, and then that was the end of the quiz. Now the submission actually reaches me in my Google Drive, which I will be able to see and find out responses that you have provided. So that was the quiz.
Hey,
Let us-
yes. I actually have a question about iCloud.
Yes, go ahead.
Because when I Google iCloud architecture, I found an article mentioning that something like, hold on, let me see. Some smaller content is stored in the cloud, but where large content is synced between devices.
Not sure I understand your question, May.
So I guess then, because you're saying that iCloud serves as a hub, but it sounded like there's certain part of the content, if the article is correct, right? First of all, who knows? But if the article is correct, they're mentioning there's certain content it's synced between devices. Does that sound like it's actually bypassing the cloud portion?
Can you show us what you're talking about?
Sure. Let me share that screen with you.
So go to the upper right corner, upper left corner and hit the green button.
Okay. Let me see. Mm. Can you see the
Yes.
article?
Yes.
So it says something like some smaller content shared in the cloud, but larger content is synced between devices. So is the iCloud still serve as like a central, hub in this case?
And I will prove this. I'll make a statement and then I'll try to prove it. Imagine when you have just one iDevice, only one,
Mm-hmm.
and you use that iDevice, can be your iPhone, for example, and you synchronize that with the iCloud. And so before I try to prove it, let me make that statement. The statement I'm making is that entire content that you have on your iDevice is synchronized with the iCloud. That's the statement I'm making. Having made that statement, I'll now prove it. The proof goes like this. The only device you have in your entire house, wherever you live, the only thing you have is an iPhone, nothing else, no other device whatsoever. You bring the iPhone, you synchronize it with the iCloud, completely synchronized, like absolutely. We're using all the settings and save everything in the iCloud and all that good stuff. Take pictures, they automatically go to the iCloud, and buy some music, it's there in the iCloud for you. All that. Now, I will manage to lose that phone or destroy it completely. So it's gone. And now I don't have any other iDevice. Now I will go to the Apple Store and buy another iDevice. And I will synchronize my iCloud again. And you will see that my entire pictures and history and everything shows up back in my new phone as if it was the old phone. And this goes to show that all the content that I have in my first iDevice gets synchronized entirely with the iCloud. And when I manage to lose my first phone and get the second phone, the entire content comes back to the phone in my second one because I lost the first one and I did not have two devices at the same time. So the question of device to device sync without syncing content in the cloud does not apply. Do you understand what I said?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you agree?
Yeah, and this scenario, make it impossible to have device to device sync, basically.
Yeah. So what they're trying to say is, I don't know who that person is, highscalability.com, but sometimes people write whatever they want to write, does not have to make sense. Honestly, that's how internet is. They're people, they'll do whatever they want to do. And so unless you question them and challenge them, you can call out on that statement that says here, which is like the third paragraph from the top, which says what Apple ended up creating is a syncing model where large content is synchronized between devices and small metadata type content is stored in the cloud, and shared chargeable data like mail is stored in the cloud. We just refuted that idea by giving you a simple example. Did we? And yes, of course, Michael said the truth. Michael said the truth is, if it is on the internet, it must be true. Exactly correct. Absolutely. And if people are wrong on the internet, you need to go and correct them right away, right? That is also true. So there is another XKCD joke. You probably hear me talking about xkcd.com all the time. But on XKCD, you will find a joke that it's like middle of the night, late in the night, and the wife is calling the husband, okay, come, it's time to go sleep. And the husband says, no, but people are wrong on the internet. I need to correct them. Something like that. There is a joke on this XKCD part. So that is internet If it is there, it must be true. And if it is not true, I will go and correct it. So that behavior happens. But it's always good to rationalize with, with an example. Excuse me. Man, this is bad. Sorry about that. I will mute before coughing now. So any other questions on the quiz, or we proceed discussing the next thing, which is what I want to discuss briefly about. By the way, Mel has done a fabulous job. I don't know if he already sent out that email or not. Did you send, Mel?
No, I did not.
Okay, so then I'll let him talk about it. I'll shut up. He'll send an email after some time, and you'll get to read what he did. Thank you, Mel.
You're welcome.
So the thing that I think we discussed last time briefly was this concept of the goal. The goal is to make money, and how do you make that money? And we talked about this bungee cord and 6 kids. That analogy actually applies to a variety of situations and setups, like we mentioned about the kid labeled F as in Frank, or F as in the fat guy, the slow guy. There are a variety of approaches in dealing with the fat guy problem without hurting that person. If it is an individual, you want to deal with care, and you want, if it is a human problem, you have to handle it very carefully. But if that F is a machine, it is okay to overburden the machine to the fullest extent and keep it occupied, like we discussed in the class. The A, B, C, D, E, F, these elements not necessarily apply to human beings. They can apply to machines or processes or people or anything that you can think of in the overall process of creating goods and services and providing it to the customer so that you can generate the throughput you want, which is inflow of cash. Now, when it comes to people, what I would like to mention is some of the ideas that people end up doing to make it human, more human, on the person F, the fat guy, without burdening that person too much. So, what would be some of the examples that, in the case of 6 people walking together on a bungee cord, tied together with a bungee cord, A, B, C, D, and E, and F, walking them all together from bottom of the hill to the top of the hill, and you want the whole team to reach the top. It is not a competition. It is a game of reaching all of them together in the fastest amount of time. So with that in mind, and assuming that now we are dealing with humans, what would you do to make it even faster for the entire team to reach the top of the mountain, given that we have understood this guy F is the slowest? And so we put him on the front, and we tie everybody else with the bungee cord. We're going to give them something to hold in their hands and let everybody walk at their fastest pace, while allowing F to lead. So if that is the situation, and you find that what steps can be done to improve, even in this situation where F is the leader and F is running or walking at the fastest possible pace, and given we are dealing with humans, what can you do as a person who is responsible for the outcome? If you are responsible for the outcome of ensuring these 6 people reach the top of the mountain and the fastest, what would you go and look for? So give me some thoughts on what would you go look for in a case where people are involved, and how do you improve the overall situation? That's the question I have for you. And the question setup is, you have you're the F, the guy, the fat guy, the slow guy, up on top, ahead, leading everybody. So give me some ideas. What can you potentially improve in this situation to speed up the whole game of leading them all the way to the top fastest?
Well, if F is your bottleneck, you need to find out why F is a bottleneck.
Bingo.
Is it a lack of training? Is it a lack of tools? Is it a lack of commitment to the effort? You need to find out why F is a bottleneck and then address that situation.
Yes. And in the context of in the context of these kids, maybe you want to examine their backpacks and find out what is inside those backpacks. And maybe take the backpack away from the fat guy to make him feel lighter so he can travel faster. And maybe put that backpack on top of another person behind him. Basically help him out in whatever fashion you can. And in the context of the kids walking up, becomes an analogy, but in real life, as you said, Mel, which is exactly true, accurate, absolutely accurate, by the way, is to find out what's the root cause behind the bottleneck. What is the bottleneck indeed? Is that just the person? Or is there something else that is impacting the person that may be making him a little bit slower? And the variety of ways to approach that problem will become helping him out in maybe instead of asking him to not eat lunch at lunch hour and keep working, maybe you bring lunch for him in lunch hour and feed him by hand yourself so that he keeps on working as you feed him. That may be a way. I'm just giving out ideas you can help out people in making their life easy and simple. So your overall organizational goal of delivering to the customer so that your throughput of money coming into your organization improves. Because as you already know, you heard me saying this, the amount of time lost by the bottleneck is the amount of time lost by the entire company. And that's the thing you want to avoid. So you want to probably spend some operating expenditure in bringing him lunch to his table and go overboard on feeding him by hand, spoon after spoon, so they can keep on working. So some ideas, there's just some ideas, and it does not necessarily apply to a people-centric situation, but in real life, it is not just people, but there are a variety of things that we do together to accomplish the delivery of goods and services to our customers in order for us to improve the throughput. So the key would be to identify what specifically can be done in tweaking the parameters that we have in our control. And those are, we have time, material, resources, money that we can apply to a problem to expedite the flow of money through the bottleneck into our company. And remember, always think about the money flowing into the company as opposed to goods and services going out of the company towards the customer. It is what you want to really directly influence is to get the money into our company. And that's how you should think of throughput, think of flow. It's the other way. Most people will think of supplying, manufacturing, creating, writing code, delivery, services is outward toward the customer. If you change your frame of reference and think about the money coming into your company, then it becomes an interesting way of thinking about the same exact problem from a different perspective. If you keep that perspective in mind, it will help you think very rationally in terms of what exactly is going on and what exactly can be done to improve the inflow of money, because that's essentially what you really want from an organizational business perspective. Right? Any other ideas that you want to maybe think of in the context of bottleneck? As to how and why and by how much should we think about improving? Because these aspects will give you a frame of reference to think of when you are dealing with a problem of real life in your business. And it will apply to something like the delivery of your software to the customer through a service that you offer in the work you're doing. And I think, as we said the last time, it will be a good idea to start thinking about, and maybe by Monday when we meet again, I would like you to have maybe 2 people come together and find out a project you want to work on in the context of a real customer, if you have one, or if not, then make up some customer, a fictitious customer that you think they have a problem and you want to identify that problem for them. And if you can engage the customer, that's great. But if not, create a fictitious company that kind of resembles an existing company, and you go read about that company, do some research, and try to solve that particular problem. First of all, frame the problem for that, and then try to put together a solution towards that solving that problem. Even if it is a fictitious company that resembles a real life company that you can study as a proxy. And so you go study the business, their operations from publicly available information that is available on the internet. There is a ton of available information about every company you can think of that you might have in mind. So pick one or two, narrow down on a scope of problem, and see what you can do to identify a problem that they might have and propose a solution that you might be able to incorporate for them. And if it is a real company you know already, awesome. That's exactly what you do. If not, you can take a academic study and create something like that for that particular fictitious company that resembles a real life company. Is something that I want you to do, and I'll talk more about it. But think about this particular aspect as we approach Monday, and we discuss more in the context of what we intend to do. And on Monday, I think we'll cover the specific aspects of using one of the tools in managing infrastructure, which is Chef, and I'll go deeper into it in terms of giving specific examples from what Chef does, the overall architecture of Chef, and then we'll put it to use in our virtual machine in a hands-on fashion. So that's what I think we plan to do when we meet Monday. Any
I'm
questions?
looking forward to it.
Thank you, sir. So, did you have any further questions on this project that you want to create, or identify a real customer, or make a fictitious one that resembles a real one? Any specific questions that you might have, or do you need further elaboration from me on this? Maybe I'll come up with some examples and give you some candidates to pick from.
I was just wondering if is this in the context of solving for a bottleneck and giving examples of how we might resolve that bottleneck? Is that the purpose?
Not necessarily in the context of bottleneck alone, but in the context of a real business and a real problem you will want to solve on your own in the next 2 months. In that context, not specifically focus on just the bottleneck aspects, but of course there are bottlenecks and they're good to have. As I said the last time, bottlenecks are great because they help you save money. But having too much of a bottleneck can be a problem, so you want to make sure that your bottleneck is just big enough to meet the demand. Not having a bottleneck is a bad idea. So in the context of the upcoming 2 months that we have, that's the bigger question I have for you is, I will like you to work on identifying a specific problem for a given company you already know, or if not, I'll give you some examples to work on, and then you can select that as you work along in the next couple of months. It can be something like in the past I have had people take proxy from Citibank. People take proxy from mostly these are New York-based companies that they have taken examples of. You can take local companies as examples and think in that direction as to what would that mean. But people knew folks in Citicorp or other New Jersey-based healthcare companies that they have taken examples of based on their information that are available to them through either their own sources or publicly available sources, to identify a focused problem that that particular company was trying to solve in the context of IT and cloud. And they were able to prepare a business presentation and a technical solution for that particular customer and give it as a presentation to them. And that is something that I would like you to think of in the context of this region where you are in the Seattle regions, and identify a company that you already work with, know, or if not, create one fictitious example that resembles a company that you know or can find out information about. Discuss among yourselves and maybe pair up and team up maybe 2s or 3s and identify that. So you can divide the work and brainstorm among each other to get to a point where you can first clearly identify a problem you want to solve and then solve it. And it doesn't have to be just in the context of our bottleneck discussion. So does that help? Giving you some ideas?
It does. It's not what I was expecting, but it helps understand.
See another comment on the chat window. You will be ready to climb Mount Everest. What was that about? This is a part of B2B model, payment and data analytics gathering. I have no idea what that is.
Yeah, it was relevant at the time, but now as you're reading it, it totally doesn't make sense. Story of my life.
No. I'm trying to figure out. I did not read that element.
It was in reference to when you were talking about the native app for iPhone as an example, an altimeter.
Mhm.
So you're ready to climb Everest, and then that's. I thought that was in Hindi, the name of that mountain, but I think that's actually in Tibetan.
Yeah, it's Tibetan. The Hindi name is called Sagar Math, and the thing is Mount Everest. The top of the mountain is called Sagar Math in Hindi, and in Tibetan it is called Komolangma.
And the B2B part was in reference when May was talking about Skype and the distinction between native versus web, and you were hammering home the idea that if it involves a payment, the company wants you to interact with them directly. So that bottom line is if there's any kind of e-commerce transaction. Ooh. I didn't realize my dialogue is making you sick. Bottom line is if there's any form of financial transaction, I'm assuming in general each company has a model. They want you to hook into their back end system to do payment, and then you can also track them in many different ways, right?
Makes sense. I see Dan is awfully quiet today. Hey Dan.
Sorry, I came in late. I had my kids this morning, and I was getting them off and running, and then I came in late. So I'm just trying to get the context here.
Okay.
I don't know how I did you went over the results for the quiz.
No, I did not go over the results of the quiz. What I did was to go over the quiz myself.
Okay.
Because I don't think I want to go over results with the whole class. That's not what people in the US do apparently, is what I understand.
Usually what you do is you walk up to the guy that got all of them wrong, and you say, here's the guy that got an F.
No, that's the India style. When I was in college, we used to have this thing called cross list. It's CROSS list. And it is a list of all those people that got a F failing grade, and it was published on the notice board.
Yeah.
There was an exam. And so that's how it was in engineering college. Like any exams that you will have, there is a list of people with an F grade called cross list listed up right in the face. Everybody will be able to see it. That's how it was in India.
Yeah.
And here we have to comply with the law. Here is I think FERPA, FERPA. That law applies, so we cannot disclose personal information with anybody else. So we are doing exactly that. We are not talking about individual results with anybody except the individual. And so we went over the quiz as I was doing it. But, no individual disclosure of results. I think this FERPA, what does it mean? I haven't even studied that part. FERPA. stands for Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act. Children's educational records. These rights transfer to the student when he or she reaches the age of 18. So I cannot even discuss with the parents, apparently.
You can talk to my parents if you want.
Okay. If the child turns 18, you cannot disclose the results to parents. Wow. That's very harsh. From an India perspective, because we are coming from a different world. I think, Murugan, did you go to college in India? Muru?
He's still muted.
Is it similar in Taiwan, the harshness, or is it not?
Was that similar what?
Similar as in disclosure of scores and results to everybody in the class?
At least when I was growing up, there might be some change recently.
Right. What else do you want to discuss today? If there is something specific, I would like to discuss that. Otherwise, I would like to actually get some more drugs. I want to get drugged up so I can be ready for Monday.
I think you should
I also
go
take rest.
take your medicine.
Yep.
Yeah, you should get some rest.
Yeah.
I could not sleep last night. It was horrible. Anytime you go horizontal, like on a bed, the I don't know what this thing is called. The flow of liquids inside the body gets irritated. That's what it apparently means. So you have to keep upright. That's what I've been doing all night.
You see that? Nilesh in the background?
Uh-huh.
You
You're
need
right.
a computer line.
Let me see. What do you see? What do you show?
Computer line.
What do you show?
One in the corner.
I did not see that. I see.
Exercise machine.
Yeah, it's an inverter line. You need one.
Oh, I have. I know what that thing is. Inverter line, and I have a thing called yoga wall, which is also nice.
That's better.
Yoga wall is a nice, wooden wall on the. It's upstairs. There's a room here in which you can hang upside down and do all sorts of things.
Much better, yeah.
Yeah, yoga wall.
Yoga hall. I should check that.
Yeah, it is funky. But my wife is yes, downward dog, upward dog, all sorts of dogs and cats and God knows what. They have Hindi names, Sanskrit names for these things.
All right, I'm gonna sign off.
Yep,
See you everyone on Monday.
see you there.
Right.
Me too.
Okay.
Signing off. Thanks a lot, Nilesh.
Bye
Thanks,
bye.
everyone.
Bye.
Yeah, get better soon. See you on
Yeah.
Monday.
See you Monday.
Get better.
Hey Mel, read that and give me a call if you want to talk.
I will. I'll take a look at it. And you want me to post it on the Cloud Genius site?
Uh,
Is that
I-
what you wanted? Or,
I already did that part. I want you to review it and then email it to everybody so they will know you did it.
okay. I will do that.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.